Hello, I'm Prith Banerjee, Executive Vice President and Chief Technology Officer of Schneider Electric. Schneider Electric is a 27 billion euro company in energy management and automation space, and I am responsible for our 1.3 billion euro on R&D spend across the four businesses that we have in buildings, in data centers, in industry, and in energy. It's a very exciting role. I manage a global organization of about 8,000 R&D engineers around the world. So it's very, very exciting. I've been asked to kind of talk to you. I'm very, very excited at the opportunity to talk to all of you at IIT Kharagpur, my alma mater. So I was asked to kind of talk about some of the journey from Kharagpur to US. I did my undergrad. I got my BTech degree from IIT Kharagpur in 1981 in electronics engineering. I stayed in Azad Hall of Residence, my favorite dorm. Had a fantastic 5 years at Kharagpur. I worked with some of the very best professors who I still greatly admire. And after my BTech, I came to the US to pursue my master's and PhD. I studied at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, and I studied my PhD in computer engineering. And when I graduated, I had an opportunity to actually go and join some companies, corporate labs like IBM Research, Bell Labs. I had offers from those places as well as from about a dozen universities. Like Carnegie Mellon, USC, UCLA, University of Texas, Austin, and so on, Wisconsin. But I chose to stay back at the University of Illinois because that was sort of a fantastic university to teach. And I was a professor at Illinois for about a dozen years. Went through the ranks, assistant professor, associate to full professor. And I had some of the very, very best PhD students and master's students. Many of them came from IIT Kharagpur. And after that, went over to Northwestern University, where I was department head of electrical engineering for about 8 years. After that, moved to University of Illinois at Chicago, where I was dean of engineering for about 3 years. So I spent about 22 years in academia. And during those years, I worked with lots of very, very smart students. I have graduated more than 37 PhD students in my life, got lots of publications, IEEE journals, computer science, ACN journals, and so on. So I was doing hardcore research in academia in the field of parallel computing, parallel compilers, fault tolerance, electronic design automation, and so on. And then, I guess the questions are, what are some of the important junctures in your journey? While I was in academia, I was involved with two very small software startups that I founded. One was Accenture, the other was Banerjee, and both were started from a university lab setting. Accenture from Northwestern, Banerjee from University of Illinois. And both those companies I founded, raised money from VCs, hired a team, built up a team, built a product, and was able to sort of sell the companies to larger companies. Accenture was sold to Xilinx Corporation, and Banerjee to Quickstream Media. So that was a real changing point in my life, right? I mean, before that, I was a hardcore academic professor doing research and so on. But once I got a taste of what it takes to take a research lab, a research thing, a prototype from a lab into a product where customers would actually feel it, touch it, use it, that was a tremendous transformation. I absolutely loved it. So at that point, I had an opportunity to go over to Hewlett-Packard to head up HP labs worldwide. This was an amazing opportunity. I still think it's the best job I had in my life. I was head of the central R&D arm of a $120 billion company. We had HP Labs was in 7 global locations. I was responsible for Palo Alto, for Bristol, for Beijing, Bangalore, St. Petersburg, and Israel. So it was a really amazing thing with 600 absolutely top quality PhD level researchers doing amazing things. And I spent about 5 years at HP Labs, then transitioned to a role as CTO at ABB. Many of you may know of ABB. It's a big power and automation company. I moved to Zurich, to Switzerland, and was there for about a year and a half. Then came over to the Bay Area to work at Accenture as global head of R&D. Worked there for a couple of years. Did a lot of very interesting work on how to do sort of R&D in a consulting company, in a services company, working with lots of sort of technologies, and the key things were to work on startups, innovative technologies, and how you can take the innovations from the startups and build solutions in different sort of client verticals for Accenture. So that was a great gig. And for the last year and a half, I've been working at Schneider Electric in a role of CTO, as I mentioned. So I've been fortunate to have been given the opportunity to, I guess, work in an academic setting for over 20 years, to work in a couple of startups, and also for in the last 10 years, 4 major Fortune 100 companies. So I feel thrilled that I'd given this opportunity to contribute to society in an engineering world. So let me now answer your other question, which is, what are some of the qualities, what are the turning points in your life? And again, the turning points were several. One was when I left academia to go to the startup world, right? I mean, that was, before that, I was a hardcore academic. I was doing research, working on publications, and I was trying to solve the world's problems about advancing the state of the art, working with PhD students. When I worked with my first startup, Accenture, it was a complete change in how I approached innovation. It was all about taking customer input, customer feedback, building the product, and the pace of work, the pace of innovation was incredible. I mean, I got a real kick out of working on my first startup. The second startup, of course, was kind of similar to my first one. So that first turning point was the change from the academic world to the startup world. The second transformation was when I went from the academic/startup world to the large world of corporate IT, the corporate world, right? When I first became head of HP Labs. The third turning point was when I moved from sort of HP Labs director to the role of a CTO. As a CTO, you are responsible for a blend of technology and business. So you're not just doing R&D. You are trying to help the CEO. I was helping the CEO of ABB, Joe Hogan, about what technology areas ABB needed to invest in so that he could drive growth for the company. That is actually a very, very exciting role. It's trying to think sort of about the business, the competition, which areas you should invest, which areas you should stay out of, how can you grow, who is your competition, how can you better compete, and it's all about priority. So I learned a lot about the world of CTO from ABB, which is what I'm practicing today. So those were sort of the 3 turning points. First one, academia to startup. Second one, academia to the corporate world. And third one was sort of within the corporate world, transitioning from a labs role, sort of HP Labs or Accenture R&D, to the CTO role at ABB or Schneider. The third question that you have is, what were the qualities that you were imbibed when you were at KGP? Well, I will tell you. KGP was an extremely, extremely exciting time. I mean, 1976 to 81, I loved it. I mean, I was around really smart students, right? That is, the network that we had was incredible. Not only was I learning great things at school, right, from the professors, but I was also learning about creative discussions with my friends and colleagues, my students there. And I still, even after sort of 30 plus years, I still am in contact, great contact with my IIT alumni friends of my class of about 30 electronic students from Kharagpur batch of 81. 7 of them are in Silicon Valley in California, and I'm in very close touch with them. We get together almost every month with them over dinners and so on. And we still are constantly in connection. So what I learned at Kharagpur was how you can learn about innovation, about working together, teamwork, passion for work, and so on. So I mean, these things have really, really helped me throughout my career. And the IIT brand is so well known globally. I'm so proud of being an IITian. So that was an amazing thing. The fourth question is, what is your advice to the young people out here? Let me tell you, the fact that you have been admitted to IIT Kharagpur is just an amazing, amazing achievement, right? You are all fantastic students, bright students. You have a tremendous career ahead of you. Literally, you can write your own future. So be thankful to the gods that and your family, to your family members, your parents who have let you have this opportunity to study at this remarkable institution. Be thankful for all these students, the colleagues that you have around. Thankful to the professors that are there, that are teaching you, because what you are going to learn in IIT Kharagpur will last you throughout your career. I still have many of my books in my offices from my days at Kharagpur. So just keep at it, be inspired, do good things to the world and society. The last question is, what is your source of motivation or inspiration in my career? Well, I've had many people that I've looked up to. So all the scientists and engineers, starting from, I guess I was fortunate to have received the Jagadish Bose National Science Talent Award when I was in Kharagpur, and that essentially provided the scholarship for me to study at Kharagpur. But I mean, there have been such smart scientists and engineers from India. Those were my inspirations. In my personal life, I've been inspired by my own brother, Sanjay Banerjee, who is also a graduate from IIT Kharagpur, 2 years my senior. He's a professor at UT Austin, and he has been a personal role model for me. But I have had so many role models. My PhD advisor, Jacob Abraham, tremendous source of inspiration to me. I mean, he was a professor at the University of Illinois, and he's done an amazing thing. He's also a chair professor at UT Austin. I've always looked up to him for advice and so on. In the academic world, sort of the PhD student looks up to the PhD advisor as almost another parent, and I have always considered my advisor, Jacob Abraham, as my sort of third parent. And so I've looked up to him for inspiration. And I think you guys are in a tremendous position. The world has become more global. When I give external talks for Schneider, I talk about how the world has become more global. Technology is everywhere. I mean, the whole things about internet and so on, the cloud computing has enabled people from anywhere in the world to do very interesting pieces of work. I mean, in the past, in order to do a sort of a startup, it was very hard. You had to raise a lot of money and then do a startup. Today, it is possible for 3 guys in a garage anywhere. It could be in Stanford, it could be in Silicon Valley, it could be Bangalore, it could be India, in Kharagpur. 2-3 people in a garage could start a company if you have a brilliant idea, because it is possible to have access to the internet, have access to the cloud computing, to Amazon or whatever, and you can just get a little sort of innovative idea out there, and building the concept of what I call a minimum viable product, get something out there, test it out, and work with customers. So, I mean, the world is flat, as Thomas Friedman has said. There are tremendous opportunities ahead, and literally today there are no barriers. There are no barriers, and Indian students are very highly regarded throughout the world, and I see at Schneider Electric lots of very smart Indian engineers. I've seen that at HP Labs, seen that at ABB and Accenture, and all the companies that I see in Silicon Valley greatly appreciate the engineering that the IIT Kharagpur students and all the IIT students have done here. So with that, I wish you best of luck with your studies. Hope this has been of some use to you.